Yeah, y'all get ready, buckle up for the livest podcast. Hawk Talk, ready to serve is built to last. Where the players and the fans collide, let's ride. Get the realest perspective from the ones who've been inside the huddle. DesRochers spit the facts since training camp with Walter Thurmond III, the Super Bowl champ. They lived it, breathed it, played it, displayed it to the 12, so you know they word is highly rated. Lock in, like, and follow like a hollow point. Mind-blowing facts, Walton Dave, all anoint as true legends. Grab a cold one and favorite snacks. As two Seahawk legends bring the relevant stats. Hawk Talk, let's get it, with no cap, unless it's Seahawks fitted. Upcoming matchups plus predictions. Hawk Talk, the best in the business. Hawk Talk, right with us, right with us. Blue and green, that's what we run. Hawk Talk, right with us, right with us. Glad to hear y'all dropped in. Hawk Talk, right with us, right with us. Walk and take it locked in, and let's go.
Well, that's it. Walt, what do you think?
Hey, loving it.
Hey, so we're gonna go into more detail, and if you guys follow the show, we're hanging on by a thread half the time, but we're trying to bring things to you. We're trying to get this thing downloaded, and that was the best we can do. We actually already have an updated version of that. That was the first one, and then we're working on a true just video with the backdrop. So, Dave DesRochers, it's Hawk Talk. I got excited about the new the new anthem, joined by Walter Thurmond III, Super Bowl champ. How's everything, Walt?
Hey, doing good. How you doing?
And I'm doing good. We're running all over the place. It's a busy time of year during the season. Yeah. You're doing view parties with alumni. I'm doing NFLPA deals. I just got back. I was sick last week. I was in Austin helping launch an indoor football team in Austin, and actually going to be a part of the ownership, I think, of that just through being the chairman of the board and getting involved. And for 3 hours on the ride home, the plane home, this kid just hawking up a lung behind me. And I'm like, really? And I knew it wasn't going to be good. And so I ended up getting sick. That's why we didn't do the show last week. So, anyhow,
you're in good health though. You're in good health now.
I'm old, so I'm fragile. But hey, we had got feeling better. Played a little golf yesterday with Mellow Man Ace and Arabian Prince. It was one of the founding fathers of NWA, and had a really good time. So trying to work on my golf swing because we got some golf. Yes. I was driving on a dirt road, Walt, going up into the hills of Temecula, and I'm looking at all these mansions everywhere. I'm like, why am I on a dirt road to a golf course? Something creek. I don't even know what it was, but it ended up being a really nice track. Okay. Wouldn't even know it was there, and we had no reception. It's just complete in the boons. Yep. And then we've got some tournaments coming up.
Yeah, November 11th, got a tournament out here in Corona, Eagle Glen.
Yeah, for the veterans. We
go to the March Air Force Base.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of stuff with the veterans, and that's dear to our heart. And of course, we get to go out and play some golf, so that's a fun thing to do and be a part of the community. But hey, we got to talk about some Seahawk football. This was an impressive win. Yeah. Against a team that's doing pretty good, a pretty high-powered offense. What'd you think of the game?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like you said, anytime you can kind of get a win on the road, it's always huge, especially against an opponent that's been playing some very quality football. Since Cousins got back off the ACLs there, we had that three loss, losing streak there. So that was kind of tough, and it was good for us to be able to get a win because we needed it, pretty bad just from the morale of the team to necessarily being able to save the season. But I think the guys needed to get that win on the road was pretty big. So now you can kind of carry that momentum going into next weekend against Buffalo, which that's not going to be a rollover game there either. And so I think it's getting back on track. Geno was solid, not a whole bunch of yards passing, but I mean he was very efficient out there. The one thing that sticks out is that third down conversions. We're still sub 50% on third down. So, that's a stat to just continue to look at through the course of the season of how much more efficient we can get there, being able to kind of just own more possession and get more opportunity to score.
Yeah, and I tell you what, that catch that Walker had, that's a tough catch for anybody, especially a running back. But he just keeps making plays. I think that defensive front and Brendan will tell you when he comes on, depending on who's given the stats, but around about 20 pressures. That's a lot of pressures, and I think that's what we're all hoping to see of our defensive front when they're healthy, because it was across the board, and I think aside from the win is that we left that game with minimal, if any, injuries, which is what we've been plagued with.
And we get the pressures, and then we grab a couple interceptions. We had a forced fumble out there as well. So I mean, guys are flying around. I mean, that's what you love to see. I mean, when the defensive line is able to get that pressure, like you said, 20 plus pressures, it makes the DB's job a lot more easier. Because now he's feeling that pressure and he's trying to get the ball off quick, and that's when quarterbacks start to make mistakes.
That's it. So tonight's show, this is all about the 12s. We're going to bring some 12s in just a second, but we also are going to be giving away some memorabilia. So we got a Matt Hasselbeck mini helmet. We've got Kenny Easley autographed football card. Jerome Curse autographed Starbucks card. I don't know if there's any money on it, but it's pretty cool. And Nate Boyer, a friend of the show, Green Beret, free agent to the Seahawks, just a badass dude, signed his movie script. And then Steve Hauschka, mini helmet shield. We're going to give those away. All you got to do is put your name in the chat. Let us know you're here. Let us know you're watching. My fabulous assistant, Anne Marie, is going to be just writing down the people's names that are here watching the show. The only way we know you're here is if you put your name in the chat, and she'll write it down, and then we'll just draw them at the end of the show. And we just want to thank you for following us and watching. So we do that by giving stuff away, and then once you win, we'll talk about messaging and giving us your addresses, and we'll get it out to you. That being said, our first set of guests are the two coolest cats, man, that did this video for us. And we've met them through a mutual friend. Nems Scarum has been helping us bring players on and bring guests on, introduced us to Cola, Kid Sensation from Sir Mix-a-Lot days. And we got the Wands, who only did the hook for one of the coolest songs ever, Thrift Shop and Macklemore. And so I said, hey, both you guys have been on the show. You're really cool. Would you mind doing a thing? Because you guys do these cool things. And they're like, Nams goes, well, I'll ask them. And they're like, yeah. What I loved about it, guys, we've talked about this, is just the old school vibe. That was 80s from back when, it's just the vibe of it. And tell me if I'm wrong, but that's what I got from it. And we're gonna attach a cool video, and Nems is working on the actual video for it. We'll get it all upgraded, and it'll be our actual official intro. But thank you guys very much for doing that.
Absolutely.
100%.
So what other ones have you guys done? I know there's other videos out there. Now, do you guys collaborate, or do you guys have separate ones that you've done?
Oh, he's the good looking one, so I just follow him.
Ha!
Well, that's why I hang out with Walt. Same thing.
Man, we collaborate a lot, man. Me and Wands have done quite a few tracks together, and notably on my last CD, West Side is one that we did together, kind of a tribute to all of the West Coast classic hip hop that we kind of grew up on and love, and I literally shout out every West Coast rapper, man, that was relevant and added to the culture, so. Yeah, man. So you guys can look that up on YouTube and whatever, man, and check it out. And that's off that Presently Past the Future album. But Wands and I perform together all the time, man. We just I just think that his energy, man. Well, first of all, I'm gonna give Wands his flowers, man. This dude has been, a lot of people just know him from Thrift Shop, but they don't know that this dude has a resume, man. That's that's as long as Diddy's rap sheet, man. I mean, it's crazy.
Wow.
This dude literally, I mean, has been putting it down, man, for years and years and years. And Thrift Shop was the biggest break, but he has been doing it, man, putting in the work for a long, long time. And he's just a super polished professional. And so I do want to give him his flowers, man. So it's always an honor to work with that cat, man. And then, of course, man, to make something for the Super Bowl champ, man, and my dude Dave, man. Come on, man. I mean, what else? How much better does it get, man? You know me. I'm true blue, green, gray, all that, man. You know how I roll.
Well, hey, Juan.
Yo.
You and I are rocking that silver little.
Yes.
Yeah. When kids say you've been doing it for a minute, yeah, you and I have been both doing stuff for a minute. But so, what other things have you guys
still here? Me and Walt
Yeah,
still
we say.
Yeah. We know.
Yeah.
Just wait till giving you guys your props, man. We already conceded you two are the good looking one.
Yeah.
We're just bringing the wisdom. So
yeah, just wait until they run out of that Just for Men. You go in that store and you're looking for your Just for Men Jet Black, and it ain't there.
Except for Walt got a few more hair. Walt got a few more hair follicles though. So.
Just a couple.
So what other things you got working on, Wands?
So Wands is actually trying to break into the announcer business. I'm finishing some classes, taking voiceover work. So I'm learning how to read and how to talk, and picked up guitar this year. So I'm teaching myself to play songs on guitar and trying to write songs and waiting for the next opportunity to fall out.
Yeah, you said announcing like sports announcing for.
Oh, actually, just more like commercials, and
okay.
Everybody's been telling me for a long time, man, you've got a really good voice, and I'm like, man, thanks very much.
doing some voisover work, huh?
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
I'll tell you, I've heard the same thing, and I was finally offered an opportunity to do a voiceover for a animated adaptation of a child's book that was about sportsmanship. That was written by a friend of mine, Stephen Tako, and it's Junga the Dancing Yeti, and it's an anti-bullying children's book series. And then he did one on sportsmanship and asked me if I would do the role of the head coach, Coach Hoxie, after the Seahawks, and then asked if I could get any other players. So I've got Marcus Ogden, Jonathan Ogden's brother, came in, and Brian Sipe, who is his favorite player. So I was able to reach out to Brian and got him in, and then a couple other Aztec brothers. Brett Fairnaz played 8 years with the Rams and a couple of teams, and J.R. Tolver. So we all did the voices of this thing, and we won an award.
Nice
for our work. Yeah. And so how fun is that to do something that's for kids, talking about sportsmanship, acceptance, about not being a bully, how to cope with all these things, and then to get a neat little award based on our work. It's very rewarding for sure.
Very, very timely for today's environment. Yes.
Oh, indeed. So, kid, you got to have. I know you're well coached. I know Nams is right there. She said, "Have a book ready to show everybody the book." don't pretend like it's not sitting right there.
Listen.
It better be sitting right there. Hey, wait. While he's looking or pretending to look.
Well, you ain't got to tell me twice.
Remember we had.
You got to tell me twice.
Well, I'm gonna have you pub it in a second. But I can tell you a funny story. We had. Oh, okay. Well, you each gonna talk about your books. We had Edwin Bailey, EB, on the show, and he was talking. It was so funny because EB is about 70, and he was on his cell phone. So the whole show was his cheek walking around. He's talking to us, and then he goes, "I wrote a book," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, tell us about it." He goes, "All right, let me find one," and he's walking around his house. This is the show. Walking around his house, walking around. I got one of those damn things somewhere. Where's that book? I thought it was like minutes, right? Well, you couldn't find the book. So nice that you guys both had them there. I'll let Coda go first. Tell us about the book, and not only about the book, but where people can find it and support you.
Absolutely, man. So this book is called Kings, Young Men Discovering Purpose and Shaping Their Destiny. And so to give you kind of the fat and the skinny on it, man, you know, I grew up without a father. I grew up without, male role models in my life to kind of teach me how to be a man. And I really missed that, man. It just felt like something was missing in my life, man. The only, fathers in my neighborhood, man, that I grew up in, I grew up in the South Seattle area, right across the street from Rainier Beach High School, and the only father figures that we really had was like on the Cosby Show and my three sons or whatever like that. I mean, we didn't have like fathers around, man. None of my friends had their fathers in their lives, and so it's like you know after you go through all of that stuff, and then after you kind of grow up as a man and you go through all your bumps and bruises, man, you start to realize, man, that all the things that you thought when you were young and all the things that were exemplified to you as far as manhood and whatnot, a lot of that stuff it was just a big hodgepodge of just mess, man. Like, I literally say that this book it's the nuggets of wisdom, man, that you wish somebody would have told you when you were 16, 17, 19, 21, and you were, going through it. If you had somebody in your corner, man, to kind of give you some, some guidelines, a little bit of a blueprint, a roadmap to kind of find your way through some of those formative years, that's what this book is really kind of about. And, the thing is that there's a difference between being just a man and being a king. Because see, a man, like, hey, you turn 21, you become a man. You handle your business, you're considered a man. But then taking it a step further, when you become a king, man, you start looking out for more than just yourself. You start looking out for your kingdom, if you will. And that might just be your co-workers and your community and your family or whatever. If you have a stage like you guys, man, it could be thousands of followers and listeners. It just depends on however big your sphere of influence is, man. That's your kingdom. And you're supposed to not just think about yourself, but you're supposed to extend that beyond yourself and start looking out for the needs of others, man. And so and it's kind of cool, like in the last chapter of the book, and I'll stop rambling in a minute, but I got I took a bunch of men that I knew, celebrities, and then also just regular, guys. I mean, like I got Jamal Crawford. I got a quote from him. Ken Griffey. I got quotes from my doctor. I got quotes from real estate professionals. Jermaine Curse, not Jerome Curse, Dave.
Oh, Jermaine. Oh, thanks.
I'm just having fun, but yeah. So I got quotes from all these guys.
Yeah, correct me.
And I took the time to ask them this one question. I asked them all the same question. I said, if you could go back and give your high school or young adult self one piece of advice, what would it be and why? And so I got some really, really cool, intriguing answers, man. The book is really dope, man. It just has quotes from all these guys. I do there's a few little picture pages at the end that go through a little bit of a journey of, me and my past life and all the, cool moments of my life and cool people I've hung out with. But it's an incredible read. And I think it's a good read for not just young men, but also us, I won't call us old. I'll say us seasoned men. Because there's a lot of great reminders in here, man, on who we're supposed to be and how we're supposed to go about it, man. So that's it. Kings, young men discovering purpose and shaping their destiny.
Hey, that's the kind of guidance and input that young people need today because they aren't getting it. And thank you, Nems, because I'm sure Jerome Curse is a good guy.
Oh yeah, by the way, Dave, too, the book does have a soundtrack. I'm a rapper, so
you're a rapper. Yeah.
So there's a full 15 soundtrack that's out there. Nice. The book's available on Amazon. The soundtrack's available on Amazon. It's also on my website, kidsensation.com. If you want yours autographed, buy it on the website. If not, grab it off of Amazon and check out the soundtrack, man. And that intro that you guys have for the new intro for the show is actually a derivative of one of the songs that's on the soundtrack. So
all right.
Go find it. Dun, dun, dun.
All right. So, Wands, tell us about your book, and then we're going to talk some Seahawk football, and then we're going to bring Brendan in to enlighten us.
Okay, so this is hashtag the Book of Wands. And when I got the break and started touring with Macklemore, it kind of freaked me out because I was 51 years old. I was 20 years older than everybody.
Yeah.
I go out before shows and talk to kids waiting in line because I'd never seen anybody react like that to an artist, let alone be touring with that artist. And it was funny to find that in those conversations all over the world, kids, I found out, had a lot of the same concerns and fears and questions that I had. So I would tweet about those things, and at the end of the tour, I collected all the tweets and put them in a book. So it's filled with little anecdotes about, little philosophical things that I learned, some quotes from my dad, and that I'd finally grown into. And yeah, it's been on Amazon for a while. I just got through. I forgot to tell you, I have a podcast that I started in December called Wandsology.
Nice.
And it drops every Wednesday, and I just talk about the one thing that I know about, and that's me. And having been this season for this long, I know I'm not the only one who thinks about things the way I do. Tomorrow's episode is going to be about, how you talk to yourself when you make mistakes, since we all make them. Because I know that for me, that's sometimes it's a daily battle keeping myself out of the pit, as I call it. But since we all do that, we all go through this together. So the more that you know, the more you can do. My book you can find on Amazon, and Wandsology, the podcast, will be anywhere that you get your podcasts.
Cool. Yeah, I love being vulnerable, being humble, and sharing my story because it helps. You know, but unfortunately, in this day and age of social media, and everyone just posts the best of their best, everyone just thinks everyone's just killing it. Let's be honest, we aren't. And so it's nice that successful people go out there, put themselves out, and say, young person, it's okay. We did the same thing. Look, if you weren't here when we first came on board, guys, we're going to give some stuff away. But the only way we're going to give it away is if you put your name in the chat. I know there's about 13, 15, 20 people watching, something like that. But you got to put your name in the chat so Anne-Marie can jot them down so we can draw them. And I know kids Cole, I don't know if you said this, but Nem said it for you, that you'd be willing to autograph a book and maybe, give it to a listener and as part of what we're doing,
100%.
As a promotion, and maybe since kids said he do it, maybe we get old man Wands to do one too.
I got 2 extras left.
All right,
and you're on them both. So
all right, so yeah, we'll just sign them to whoever wins them. Hey, let's bring Spock Hawk in. Let's talk some Seahawk football. I appreciate you guys. I want to share what you're doing in the community because we appreciate you. So we got Roland, who's Metal Hawk, and we're going to talk about what you've got coming up, Roland, towards the end. But B, shed some light. Give us some Seahawk, just how you see things going, and what you're thinking about the team so far, and what you see moving forward.
Overall, I think you're pretty happy with the results. I think right now they don't really have the roster to withstand a lot of injuries, and you see that in some of these games. When they lose a couple of players, there's a big drop off because Mike McDonald just got here. He hasn't had a chance to really build the team in his image, hasn't really had the chance to get the roster exactly the way he wants to, the way that somebody like a Ben Johnson does in Detroit, because he's been there a few years now. But there's only so much the team can withstand right now. So I think that in a couple of these games you saw Byron Murphy goes out and then the defensive front just completely falls apart without him. You're seeing some of these games like a linebacker will go out and they're not able to get much of a rush. And then these guys come back and great things are possible. I mean, that is a good Atlanta team and you're playing them in Atlanta. Yeah. When Atlanta has a good offense and they play at home, they turn those games into a track meet because their offense is so talented. And playing in that dome is a great advantage for them. And they weren't really able to get going in the passing attack at all. So good things are possible. I would like to see this team show that they can run out of 11 personnel and throw out of 12 personnel a little bit more so they can be a little bit more unpredictable. But I believe that things are trending in the right direction overall. And I'm still happy with the way things are going overall.
So, guys, feel free to jump in.
So I have a burning question. I have a burning on fire question. Why is it that when we have third and medium to long, it seems like all the receivers have 10-yard plus routes?
Yeah, that might be a carryover from Ryan Grubb's experience at Washington, where they would do stuff like that because they had a quarterback who loved to throw the ball deep more than anybody. They had maybe the best receivers in the country. And maybe that's just something that he felt so comfortable with from Washington that he still kind of brought it over, and he's finding out it's not that easy in the NFL.
I think in that trip set, when you have all three wides on the same side, you throw the DBs off balance if they don't know who's going to run the out, right? And so they can use each other as decoys on either side, because it was late in the game, and all of a sudden it's like, well, look at there's an out pattern. It's 6 yards. You get 6 yards a shot, and it doesn't take as much time. So therefore, you're not going to get a sack.
So I think we have a guy on the show that has a little bit of experience in dealing with third and long and receivers and routes and how to defend them. What do you think on that?
I mean, third and long is always tough. I mean, once you start getting to like that 7 and 10 range for the third down, you are trying to work the intermediate routes. You'll have some routes deeper, try to catch a vulnerability within the defense, some aspects. But then once you get into that 3rd and 10 to 13 or 15 yards, I mean, they're almost kind of omitting defeat, if you will, to where you start to see a lot of draws, you see a lot of screens, whether it's running back screens or receiver screens, even quick game short passes, just kind of get hopefully a running catch, and maybe you get the first down. The only thing you don't want the quarterback to do is to force a play and turn the ball over either, right? So so you start to see and if they run deeper routes, maybe take a shot to where either our receiver is going to get it or no one's going to get it either, too, right? So you kind of have those deep routes to kind of have some of the matchups. Maybe you get it, maybe you don't, and then now you're just playing the field position game. Kick the ball deep. Give the defense a chance to kind of get that stop and put them in a position to where they have to drive the full length of the field there.
I was pointing out to my sister, it's like, see where these linebackers are? You just run this guy out. He fakes outside, goes right behind the linebackers because it's all soft back there, and they're playing this, and the safety's going to come over.
And then also the long third downs too. And now the defensive linemen got their ears pinned back and they're rushing the quarterback. Because I mean, it's obviously the pass down, you're not having to defend the run. The run's kind of secondary there. So
how hard is it? So how hard is it to do? It seemed like Goff and LA would always like screen us to death when our guys had their ears pinned back. Is that really difficult to execute?
I mean, it comes back down to discipline. I mean, because you're watching the film, and when you get into those long down distance, there is a tendency of knowing, watch the draw, watch the screens, and that's something to where if the team is getting attacked by that, then you're not being disciplined in your assignment, because the offensive linemen are literally throwing you by, right? They're throwing you by to go get out into the swing. So just having that awareness of this offensive lineman is not even blocking me. I have a free play. Obviously, there's something coming. The play is going the opposite way. But it really just comes back down to being disciplined when you get caught in those type of situations.
Cool. And there's a whole new dynamic since we played, Walt, and that is the analytics. And the likelihood that teams are going for it on fourth down. So that third and long sometimes is now even just a setup for a fourth down play. So they're not always necessarily going for that first down. They're going, if they're going to chunk it, if they need 8, they'll try and get 6 or 7, and then push for a yard, depending on field positioning and that kind of stuff. So that's a whole new dynamic. And Brendan, you brought up the coach from the Lions, and that cat's a heart attack, man. I mean, going for fourth and 7 on your own 30 or whatever the heck he did, or a fake punt. This last weekend. I mean, holy smokes. That's a whole other dynamic. It's a different team. But you brought them up. I just started thinking about
even the philosophy there, though, right? Because I mean, if it's fourth and 1, 2, or 3, obviously, you're telling the punt return team, watch the fake. So you know you're a little bit more alert in that situation. But when now you get into a fourth and 5, 4th and 7, you're not expecting them to do a fake unless they have something really well thought out and planned and schemed up there. And so that's where he's been very successful running all these fakes because they're non-traditional of it being a 4th and short. They're like, well, if we midfield and we're having to change it, hey, we're gonna adjust our defense if we don't get it. But then they're not expecting us to run this fake right now. So it's actually pretty clever, them being able to pull it out in some of these longer 4th down situations.
Yeah, pretty clever until it don't work.
Until it doesn't work, but you think with it though, right?
It works backwards.
What's crazy, I don't think anybody's really talking about is that quiet is kept. Geno Smith is playing. He's got some of the best numbers in the NFL as far as a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And in our 3 losses, we gave up, I think it is 42, 39, 36 maybe, and 29. I mean, we gave up a lot of points. And it's like, the thing is that the defense right now looks like, they really pulled it together, man, in Atlanta to stop a high-powered, offense like that. I thought that was just like,
shout
wow.
Shout out to Kobe, right?
Right. But it's like, but it seemed like it's, especially in that Detroit game, it just seemed like they just, I don't know, it just looked like they felt like they were overmatched, man. Like they just lost in the sauce. Like they just didn't have the experience, the depth, just whatever to put together a real defensive effort, man. It just, I don't know. I think they gotta figure something out on the defensive side of the ball because Geno's doing his thing, man, and nobody's really noticing it. It seems like to me it's just gone unspoken. I ain't heard none of the shows talking about it. Nobody's tweeting about it. Nobody's saying nothing. But quiet is kept. He has put together a real crazy year, and it's just like I don't know, man. We gotta on the other side of the ball kind of shore things up.
I know it's what you got to watch because JSN's coming for his job. That's what's happening. Remember JSN threw that pass?
Mm-hmm.
JSN,
But Coda, I think it's the way he plays the game too. He just plays it quiet. He plays it unassuming. You don't see him jumping around. You don't see him, all showboating. He just goes out there, does his thing. It just seems, he's just within himself. And I think he's just flying under the radar. To your point, because hey, it's not like our offensive line's been killing it. Sure. I mean, he's been under pressure. And he's still delivering. I think I see him throwing off his back foot a little bit because I think he's afraid of, he's getting so much pressure. Man, if he had a little bit more confidence, he'd probably be even exponentially better, right?
Right. Even with the line, not really giving him the best of protection.
Right.
Man, that dude is still putting together just an incredible season, man.
I mean, doing some quick math real quick. The offense is averaging 26 points a game. So, that's not. That's not shabby at all from an offensive standpoint there, right?
Right.
Most teams look at if you can hold a team to 17 points, you're going to win those games.
Correct.
And so, they're scoring the points.
You ain't gonna win a lot of games. You give up 42 points, man. Them tough games to win, man. 36 and 42. You can't give up them kind of scores.
Yeah,
man.
You pretty much gave about 35 points in that 3-game stretch, average. So
I have another question I have a question for Brandon. What I saw that DK went off on a cart near the end of the game. What's his story?
He strained his MCL. I believe it's a grade 1 sprain, which typically will keep you out a game or two. I will say that DK's proven that he's coming back from things faster than most people would have before. It was, I think, 2022. He didn't miss a game after getting hurt when vast majority of people who have that injury do take a game or two to come back. But even in the worst case scenario, he might come back after the bye week. But more than likely, I think you're going to see him back for the Rams game at least. But he is hurt.
Thanks.
So, Brandon, what do you think of Geno? What do you think of our offense? Give us an assessment on that.
Yeah, I'm very happy with the way Geno's playing. I think Geno Smith is one of the very few quarterbacks in this league who could be productive with the way the offensive line has played for most of the season. And with the amount of pressure this team puts on him to perform. I mean, Geno Smith leads the league in passing attempts by a wide margin. So mistakes are going to happen. You're going to throw the occasional interception when you're being asked to throw the ball 50 times in a game. Yeah. And most quarterbacks couldn't produce anything in those circumstances. Generally speaking, the bottom ranked offensive lines in the league are attached to the bottom ranked offenses in the league. So the fact that Geno Smith has this incredibly high pressure rate where he's getting pressured on, like, what was it, 51% of his third down dropbacks. Mm-hmm. And he's still producing at this roughly top 10 level is, I think, indicative of him potentially being much better than that if this line can ever get it together. And it's worth noting, Abe Lucas may practice this week. He may come back and he might be the player that he was back in 2022. We'll have to see. But I think that there's still immense potential there for things to get even better. And as for the offense, I like most of it. Like I said, I think their main obstacle right now is to figure out a way to run the ball when they have their 3 receivers on the field and throw the ball when they have 2 tight ends on the field. That's the, I think, the main issue that is making them a little predictable pre-snap.
Well, what do you think about this this Buffalo team? I see that they're 5-2 going into this week. I mean, you know, obviously they started the season not having Diggs there. They didn't know how the team was going to shape up, but I mean, it came out, you know, they're leading their division 5-2. Well, what's your thoughts going into this week?
Well, it's an interesting challenge. They just got Amari Cooper as well, so they have a new. I don't know if he's their top receiver, but he's up there. Yeah. I keep waiting for that defense to slip because every year they lose players, and somehow Sean McDermott, he finds a way to field a good defense every year, no matter what. They lose players get hurt. They find a way. Like last year, they lost maybe their 3 best players, and they still had an elite defense. So it's not happening right now. I think the thing that really stands out is that we are 7 games into the season, and Josh Allen hasn't turned the ball over once, which is hard to do for anybody.
Oh, wow. It tells me he's due.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. That might be what we're looking at here. That might be a situation where, hey, you know, Josh Allen isn't supposed to go half the season without a turnover. It's time.
Yeah.
So maybe that's something that'll play our way. But there's some very intimidating stuff about that Bills team right now, for sure.
Brandon, do you know where we rank as far as forcing turnovers?
We're pretty low because we didn't force. We forced 7, which is not that many.
Yeah.
But 3 of them were against Denver, and 3 of them were against Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you know, turnovers do kind of come in bunches, but overall, you would say when you've got Mike McDonald, who is coming from the Ravens led the league in takeaways last year.
Right.
You'd say you probably wanted a little bit more.
Yeah.
Shoot, Walt Legion of Boom, they get 6 in a game.
Yeah. And it's funny, the other day, I got to say, I get the advantage of watching the games with Brendan. And I swear, like 2 minutes before the turnover that we got, he said, "We're due for a turnover." Just going, come on.
Yeah, just turn Tony Romo off and let Brandon go.
I do.
Well, you just turn Tony Romo off no matter what. But
that's true.
But then you got Brandon on top of it. So I mean, yeah, that insight is awesome. And so somebody over here, I'm trying to keep up with the comments. And I'm going to say this one more time. I think we got 26 listeners on right now. Guys, we're giving some stuff away. And Jerome's brother, Jermaine.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
That's Jerome's brother, Jermaine.
Cousin Tito over there.
Okay, Kenny Easley. Look, Matt Hasselbeck, guys, we got to give them away, but we don't know you're here unless you put your name in the chat. So that's the last time I'm going to say it. And it's going to be good luck to you. But somebody asked, Brandon, what do you think, Coach Mike, how do you think the job he's doing so far? I know it's new. I know it's like 7 games in. But we still are starting to get a feel for the coaching staff. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's really important to know that there's probably some stuff here that McDonald inherited that he's going to try to make work, but he doesn't necessarily feel great about it. And it's something that he's probably going to be looking to move on from next offseason. So he's making it work with what he has, but you can definitely see that he's not able to do all the things that he did in Baltimore. In Baltimore, you saw a lot of, they call them stacked fronts. They call them simulated pressures, where you only rush 4 guys, but you don't know which 4 guys they're going to be. There are a lot of plays when you're watching Baltimore where linemen drop back into coverage, and then like a defensive back will come and take their place in the front 4. And it's really hard to predict when you're calling out the play pre-snap. He's not really able to do that yet here because I think the players probably just aren't all the way there yet. And I mean, you go back to McDonald 2 years ago when he took over as the defensive coordinator in Baltimore. It took him about 9 games before that defense really started playing great. So it's not a surprise that it doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah, for sure.
So hey, look, they're starting the 12s. I need to figure it out, man. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Devin. Appreciate you guys. And I know we got some earlier, and I know Emery's keeping track of everything. Thanks for checking out the show and hanging out with us. And any questions you have for our Seahawk expert or any of the guys, Kid, any events that you got coming up in Seattle or Wands, anything you guys have coming up that we want to talk about?
Yeah, I got some stuff coming up, man. I'll be up there towards the end of December, and I'll be doing I forgot to mention that too. I do these Kings events for this book where we get together a bunch of young cats, man, and little young kids from the inner city, wherever they're from, man. But we welcome all young men. And we bring them in, and we connect them with a panel of cool people. Wands has been on my panel before, and we've had athletes, entertainers, whomever. We just bring other people in on the panel, and we just sit there, man. We have kind of a little bit of roundtable discussion, man. It's not like, oh yeah, man, we just us guys, we sit there and tell the kids what they need to hear, and we're just gonna give them some kind of pep talk. No. It's interactive. We're like, yo, we want to hear from you guys. We want to know what you guys are facing. We want you guys to throw things our way, and we want to be transparent and vulnerable in this space with you guys, man, and just be real and talk about what it is now, what it was when we were coming up, and the differences, and how can we come alongside you guys and do your thing. So it's been powerful, man. Wands could attest to it, man. We had usually at first it was parents were dropping their kids off to kind of be a part of this, but then the last one, man, and Wands was at this one, man. Several of the parents stayed. I was like, no, you're welcome. No, stay. You're welcome. We got extra chairs out. The room was fully full, and people were standing in the doorways. We were like, come on in, crowd yourself in. It doesn't matter. And we let the parents stay, and man, tears started flowing in that room. People were telling their stories. Wands really undressed himself in front of everybody, man, and told it all, man. And so did every man on the panel. We all of a sudden all became vulnerable. And then you had men in the audience, man, just talking about, man, I this one guy just broke into tears, and he said, man, I just can't even understand my son sometimes. I just don't know where he's coming from, man. I don't understand what he's bottom line is that these Kings events, man, this was a big inspiration for part of the book in terms of connecting us seasoned dudes, like I said, I ain't gonna call it so, and these young cats, man, and all of a sudden you put that combination in the room together, and it's just powerful, man, what ends up coming out of it. So anyway, we got one of those Kings events coming up, as well as I got a big show coming up on the 20th of December as well, man. So I'll be up in Seattle for that. So that'll be dope.
When you're telling us about that, I just got involved with Ambassadors of Compassion, addressing the mental health crisis of our youth. And it's a program they're rolling out into the schools. And we have a huge event January 28th at SoFi. We are going to put 5,000 students, underserved students throughout Santa Ana and Orange County, Southern California, into SoFi on the field, and we're going to roll this program out and help change their lives and give them the tools, how to address issues, how to recognize when you need to forgive somebody, and then how do you forgive them, and then what do you do after that? And it's we're helping build the resiliency that our youth are losing. Right, they're transferring schools. We're seeing it in the colleges and the transfer portals, and then guess what's happening when they get jobs? I don't like my boss. I'm not going.
True.
right? And so it's building this thing. We're just going to eliminate that and give them back to, hey, how to have a conversation. Cell phones are nowhere to be seen in this thing, and it's just about interacting and having fun. And so I applaud what you're doing because our youth need it, and it's the only way we're going to change things is through them, and it's by us seasoned people that find a way to get to their level to communicate. And we can't talk at them. You made that point. We can't just spit wisdom at them and expect them to get it. We got to figure out how to get to them, and get that key and unlock it, and see what we can do and make a difference together. I think that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. You hit the nail on the head, Dave. It's either we take care of them now, or we take care of them in prison, or we put them in a grave, or we put them in a hospital. Which one do we want to do? We want to take care of them now, or we want to take care of them later? I mean, we just have to make a decision and commit to it.
Yeah, and I know Walt's out there. He spends time with the kids. He coaches golf. He coaches flag football, the girls' flag football. He's working with kids. He's got a foundation to help kids. It's people like us with the like-minded stuff and finding where the problems are and then helping find solutions. So I think it's fantastic. But we do need to talk about Seahawk football. The over and under at the beginning of the season was 7.5.
Keep changing hats.
You guys haven't seen the round robin going on, man? I mean,
I've been peeping. I seen that first hat she was wearing that UW, so I didn't make a comment though, but I seen it.
The Sonics, old school. Oh,
then it's been there.
So, hey, Anne-Marie, I hope you're paying attention. Anne-Marie gives me a hard time because half my closet's full of hats.
Yes, sir.
She goes, you can't wear them all. I thought that sounds like a challenge. So maybe I'll do it, but what kids do, and I'll change them about every 5 minutes in the next few shows.
Yeah, he's popped on 5 already. We're 45 minutes in. So.
Well, I was trying to read the other one. I'm trying not to squint too hard. Over and under was 7.5 before the season started. We'll start with Brennan. What do you see our record being now that we've seen the team a little bit? We've seen them without the defensive front. We've seen them with the defensive front without Uchenna. My man Uchenna is gonna come back and start making even more of a difference. What do you see our season record ending at?
I'm still kind of in the same place where I've been. I think they get to 10 wins, small improvement over last year. They've already, lost maybe a game or two that they should have won. But the thing is, this division is looking kind of weak right now.
Yeah.
I know the Cardinals won yesterday, but they lost their best pass rusher, Dennis Gardeck. He's out for the year.
Yes.
The 49ers just lost Brandon Ayuk, of course. On Sunday, he's done for the year. So when we play them again, who knows who they're going to have? Like Debo just got out of the hospital himself with the pneumonia or whatever. I don't know how long pneumonia keeps you out. You think it'd keep you out for at least a little bit. So they don't really have receivers right now. Their healthiest receiver was the guy who got shot 2 months ago, actually.
Jeez.
Yeah. And the Rams, they're apparently trying to trade Cooper Kupp now, which to me implies they kind of know.
Wow.
Yeah. There were a bunch of reports today. They're trying to get a second round pick for him.
Oh yeah. What are your record? 1-5, whatever that is. It's like get value. Cooper's 31, 32. You're not gonna do anything this season. Get some value for him and start the rebuilding, I guess.
Cooper Kupp's not 31, is he?
He is.
Are you kidding me, man? You're right, man. We getting old, Dave.
No, I am old. I ain't getting nothing.
Right?
I'm gonna be 60. I'm gonna be 60 next month, man.
Man, I remember Cooper Kupp at Eastern, man, catching touchdowns. That seemed like that was just a few weeks ago, man.
Dude, it sneaks
I
up on
all
you,
of you. Trust me,
Dave. I got all y'all. I got all y'all beat. I turned 63 last week.
Oh, I turned 63 on Halloween.
There you go. All right, you guys win. I'll let you win that one.
Okay.
I'll let you win that one. So, all right. So B's at 10. Where are you at, Juan?
I'm not as optimistic. I'm thinking 9. I'm thinking 9 because they're going to stub their toe. They always do. There's always that one game that, like Brandon said, I can't remember which one it was that we lost in that 3 spot, but it was a winnable game. We just didn't play well. And I think there's still another one of those waiting out there, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Buffalo's going to be a really good test.
Cool. No, for sure. It's going to be the strongest team that we played this season so far. I mean, outside of the earlier games that were supposed to have a lot of hype on them. But, I mean, as the season's kind of, semi halfway there, that's going to be the best team that we've played so far for sure.
Yeah, eight Wands. Losing to the Giants ain't stubbing your toe. That's like breaking your foot. I mean,
that was a tough one.
That was we should. We do that every year. But what I'm thinking is that 3-game skid was our thing that we usually do. Kid, what do you think? How many games are we going to win this year?
Hey man, I'm with Brandon. 10-6, and I'm going to even go further and say that we're going to win a playoff game.
Walt?
Yeah. I can see us winning the playoff. If we get in, win the division, play a wild card team. I can see that being. We'll have it at home, so we'll have that in our favor. There, it's always tough playing in at Lumen. Come January, that's for sure.
That's why I feel like they could get one.
I want to
one playoff game.
I want to play the Jets.
Yeah,
I think you guys are a little strong with 10 wins.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take one less than that, but I called that New York game was basically the punch in the face that every new coach is going to experience in the NFL. We just luckily stumbled through the first 3 games and won them somehow. Yeah. I knew the punch was coming. I just sure didn't think it would be New York delivering it.
Well, it was a little bit of a trap game too, right, Roland? A little bit of
It's kind of weird. The second best game of the year was our loss to Detroit. When you think about it, that was our second best game of the year. Even though we lost.
And we're usually good with those 10 a.m. starts. Wasn't that New York game a 10 a.m. start?
No, the New York game was a 1.
Oh, never mind. Well, that's why we lost
here.
We're not doing good at home.
10 for us.
Atlanta was a 10 a.m. start, right?
Yeah, Atlanta was a 10 a.m. and so was New England.
In New England,
yeah.
In one of the greatest stadium home field advantages of all time, and we have some of our worst losses at home. But then towards the end of the season is when we really, everyone just seems to fire up and get going. Hey, so Roland, tell us a little bit about Metal Hawk and the upcoming auction you have for Fans for Good. And then Anne Marie's going to put if your names aren't in, we're going to do the drawing. We only got 8 minutes left. So she's got the names. We're going to do a drawing. We're going to give some stuff away. So only if your names are in the chat. And I also have seen a few new people jump on, and this is Patricia, appreciate you. And Jojo. Why did I put a Mexican thing on it and started going with H's for the J's? I don't know. So Jojo, thanks for chiming in and following us. Anyhow,
Jojo's one of my moderators on my Discord server.
Oh, all right. So was that English? What's the Discord server? What is that?
Exactly. I'm with you on that.
Yeah. He's in my community, basically.
All right. Rock and roll. All right, Roland.
Yes.
Where are you going?
So does she have the picture? You have the picture to show?
Oh, no. That'd be us overachieving.
Wow. Wow.
Every year I auction off a couple of hand-sized pieces. This year I'm going to start with a Doug Baldwin.
And
Super Bowl champion.
Let me drop the
so you can get a good shot of it here.
There we
go. And
cool.
I usually start them at $250. I've auctioned off a couple dozen before. The benefit goes to Fans for Good. You make a donation directly to the charity. They notify me. I ship you the item. I don't run the money through me. I've been doing it for 7-8 years. Nice. Follow Metal Hawk, or you can find me through my son here. And I'm going to put something together that I'll give you to run on the show later if you like. So I don't know.
Yeah, please do. And I know Walter signed one of those. You sent me the picture of Walter signing.
Right. I did find yours, Walter. Yep.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, nice. That's cool. So yeah, the 12 support everything we do, and we love supporting the 12s and everything you guys are trying to do in the community. Hey, Anne Marie, bring those names in because this is going to take me a minute to draw a couple of things, and so we can make the announcements. We'll also, for anybody that had to drop off that was in earlier, we'll post it up there so you can see your name and lights, and you'll have to inbox me your address. We're going to mail the items to you. Anything else before we get doing? Because my wonderful assistant is it's not that big of a place. Working our way in.
Well, thank you for having us on, Dave. I appreciate it.
Buddy, appreciate you, man, because you've seen in the chat, and even I know these guys were impressed. We love the insight because Walt and I played, but we don't get a chance to break things down to the extent that you do. And I know this, Brendan. Where's your show? Where do people find you?
I go by Seahawks Brendan Nelson on YouTube. That's the name of my channel. You go there, you subscribe. I'm posting like 5 videos a day typically. And we do a little bit of Husky stuff as well, but it's mostly like during the week, 5 videos a week on the Seahawks and
breaking headlines.
Yeah, news, analysis, injury stuff, all kinds of stuff.
There's a couple live shows. One he does with another buddy once a week before Thursday night football, and doing really good at it. He really loves it.
Get down to those tailgate parties and get you some remotes there, brah.
Good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, are you over 21?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 34.
Oh, okay. Well, you look young. I
enjoyed that question.
You look so unseasoned.
Hey,
I get that sometimes. I do.
I wish he was still 21 because that would mean I would be.
Well, when Brandon was first on our show about a month ago, Roland shared that he didn't even know what he was doing, and evidently he'd been doing these shows for 5 or 6 years down in the basement, and now he's got this huge following, and rightfully so. We loved having you on last time, and thanks for joining us again. And we're going to bring you in towards the end of the season too to give us a recap and enlighten us on our playoff run because I think we're going to have one. So I didn't get a chance. We're going to do over 10 wins. I think I predicted that actually at the beginning of the season, didn't I, Walt? I knew we were going to surprise people. I just had a gut feeling. Everything just lined itself. It just seemed right to me. I didn't see the 49ers faltering like they are, but anyway, I digress. I got a few minutes left, and this is a hat with some names in it. And the first name is Lou. Lou is going, hey, am I in? Lou, you're in. And Lou, we're going to send you the Kenny Easley autographed card. Nice. So don't put your address in. Yes, Lou's in. We'll have to figure out how to get your address on Hawk Talk, the Facebook. Send it to us in Messenger. We're going to do Jermaine Curse. Like I said, Jerome's brother. I don't know how I got that wrong. Larissa. And there's no money on this Starbucks card, but that's one heck of a ball player autographed it for you. Mm-hmm. Thanks for following. And Larissa's a great follower. You all are, but we have some that have followed us since day one, and I appreciate you. Joe. Huh? Joe. Matt Hasselbeck, mini helmet. I don't know how. I'll figure out how to send it to you. We'll get it to you, and if nothing else, Brendan could text me your address.
I recommend a box.
This is Steve Hauschka. This is a mini shield that we got autographed. And we got some killer helmets. We got Hawk Talk helmets that Walter and I are going to sign. We got to get together, and we're going to be giving those away too. And they're mini helmets. They're custom Hawk Talk helmets. They're really cool. Nate Boyer autographed. Sharon's been with us since day one, and she's a rock star. So I'm gonna send you off a Nate Boyer from his movie. And if you guys haven't seen this movie, it's about a veteran and a former player struggling in transition and how they team up together and help each other through some trials, tribulations. And it's the basis of his program that he founded with Jay Glazier called Merging Vets and Players. And just so you guys know, all of you out in the Austin area, and I just hung out with the Austin Seahawkers when I was out there for that football team. May 10th, we are doing a pickleball event at the Pickle Branch in Austin to raise money for MVP. So we're going to need Seahawks and everybody out there to support us. And I think I've got – that's it. All right. So those are the people that won. We appreciate everybody listening, watching, hanging out. Oh, no. Kid, autographed book, right?
Book.
Are we good?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, I want to pull a name, get anybody's hopes up. Okay. Old school Seahawk. Who – you got to put your name in. And if you do –
government name.
Huh?
Got to use your government name.
Yeah, the one on your birth certificate. But I know it's somebody from back in the day because they keep calling me Leo, and you got to be old school Seahawks to call me Leo because that was my nickname. Goodness. And ain't nobody know that because Leo DesRochers. That's only Leo old people know that.
Mm-hmm.
And Wands, you're gonna do a book too, right?
Yeah. Yes,
All
sir.
right, rock and roll.
Who
Devin? Devin's new. I don't know if anybody knows who Devin is, but I haven't seen that name following us. So thanks for watching the show tonight. Hey guys, that's an hour. That's Hawk Talk. That's Brendan Spock Hawk, and his pop's Metal Hawk. We got Wands and Kid who did our anthem. We're gonna polish it up because it's our fault. Us old people trying to download quality stuff. And we're gonna do it justice, guys, because I really appreciate it. I dig it. I told you I was playing golf with Mellow Man Ace. That's back in the day, and Arabian Prince, who was Professor X with NWA. I gave him that video there. Oh, bro, that's hitting, man. They thought it was really cool. He goes, it's appropriate because you're old. So, and every week, my buddy Walter, appreciate you. That's all we got. Be good humans, man. We love you. Thanks for following us. And go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.